I am resident of Collinwood for YouTube. Jules Sains, that is my buddy Alan Gallant. That's my buddy Patrick McCray. We're here to review the movie The Dead Zone, starring Christopher Walken, based off the Stephen King novel. Guys, when did you first see the movie The Dead Zone?
Fall of '83 when it came out.
Yeah.
Cool.
I did not see it in theaters. I was not going to see movies very much at that point in time in my life. I was going out drinking most of the time instead. So probably a couple of years afterwards, whenever it got into rotation.
I saw this about 1995. I saw this way later. And it was shown on television, actually, basic cable. So really good movie. Really, really good movie.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. It's at least it was. I don't know if it still is, but it was Stephen King's favorite adaptation of his work.
I can see why.
Yeah.
I mean, God. Now, having said that, imagine the job Frank Darabont would do with this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Of course, you're looking at it with Darabont's work with King. You're looking at different stuff too. You're not looking at that sort of horror mystery kind of stuff. You're looking at The Green Mile, which has, I mean, it certainly has psychological.
Au contraire, mon frère.
What's that?
The Mist.
Oh, yes, The Mist. I forgot about The Mist. I was thinking more along the lines of
The jail
Shawshank
movies.
and The Green Mile. But
Yeah.
No, that's true. The Mist.
Yeah, this one's directed by David Cronenberg.
Yes, classic horror director.
He's no
right?
slouch.
No,
And
no.
it's one of Cronenberg's most disciplined movies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he gives it that cold Cronenbergian quality, but it has a lot more human warmth.
Yeah.
It does.
Than he normally delivers. And so he's faithful to King in that sense. I think it's a good fusion of the two sensibilities.
Yeah.
And after the experience he had with the other genius, Kubrick, I think it's probably really refreshing to find a genius who pays attention to what you did.
Yeah. Instead of waving you off constantly. Yeah. I don't think King is highly regards the original Stand.
No. Oh, no, the original...
I mean,
Shining.
The Shining. Sorry.
Yeah.
Shining.
The miniseries of The Shining is really good, though.
The Stand.
No,
Very good. Miniseries as well.
The Stand miniseries. We talked about that before.
Yeah.
You know, we should do that.
The Stand?
We should do a multi-episode review of that. Jewel, have you ever seen it?
Yeah, a long time ago.
It's good.
It's got a great cast.
Good. I know it's good. Because it was going on right after the miniseries of The Shining that had the guy from Wings in it.
Steven Weber. Odd choice.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that was the first re-attempt at The Shining. Yeah.
Yeah. Good miniseries. Good little miniseries there. Good. Very good. And then The Stand came like right after that, pretty close after that.
An excellent adaptation. I thought the casting was brilliant.
Yeah.
You know, there's the longer version of the Stand book that came out.
Oh yeah.
And it was interesting because you get more of an idea of the title. The Captain Trips virus initially affects porcelain, and it makes all toilets vanish, but urinals remain, which is where they got the title of the book. The Stand. You have to stand.
I thought it was the crap in the stand, but okay.
That's implied.
Yes.
That's in fact the title of the first section of the book.
Well, they did come out with a longer version of the book, which I think was like 1,100 pages long or something.
It was endless.
The original was like 750 pages.
It was just endless. It's like Steve, how much cocaine can you smell?
Yeah.
This is just you're like a vacuum. You just keep writing.
I think he was jagging on cocaine and NyQuil when he wrote that book.
Oh yeah, I can do another 100 pages.
No problem. Get away from me.
Really great job, Christopher Walken. Great choice for Johnny Smith. What a performance he gives. The entire cast really bring a lot of the great human elements of the characters in this movie, from the doctor to Christopher Walken to the woman that ends up leaving John Smith.
Well, this is the first
Casting Walken
movie.
is great because he has such odd rhythms at times.
Oh, yeah.
It's very fascinating to watch him at all times, but
Mhm.
his rhythms are different than most people, and I mean that's one of the powers that he has as an actor. But it really works here. He's
It's Sinatra-like.
it's he's smiling, and then all of a sudden I'm having a spell.
Yeah.
And it's like, or he's like dreading having a spell because he doesn't want to shake somebody's hand or he doesn't want to touch them or whatever. You get this sort of hesitancy that goes on, and then he overcomes it and impulsively grabs people sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like, I have to know. I have to know. And that's all kind of embodied in when Scarrett shows up as the sheriff and asks him, and he just flat out refuses him at first, but he ends up later doing it to investigate these murders.
Yeah. Sorry, my dog's gonna bark. Julie's coming door. His first vision, he's laying in the hospital bed and he's just come out of the coma.
Mm-hmm.
His parents talk to him. They say his girlfriend left him. She's in the arms of another man. The doctor's like, no, you can't be telling them all this at once, and they already did.
Yeah,
But
Herbert Lom is great, by the way, as the doctor. He's very
Well. I tell you, that's a whole segment we could have on this. Is
Yeah.
how good Herbert Lom is.
Yeah.
And Lom is an old school actor in a lot of ways. He's very classical in that sense, and yet he gives a stunningly modern performance.
Mm-hmm. He does.
It's sort of like, okay, method guys, this is what you're doing. Step aside.
Well, the whole deal is he has as a foundation classical European training. He began his career in Czechoslovakia or wherever it was out over there.
There's a lot of Stanislavski that was going on.
Yeah, he was in the midst of a lot of that sort of classical Eastern European training, and having that is what Stanislavski wanted every actor to have anyway before they did the method stuff. So he shines. Absolutely.
He's one of my favorite actors anyway. He's my favorite part of the Pink Panther movies.
Yeah, he's funny. He's hilarious and scary at the same time. He's just,
Yes, Julie, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
It's always funny. No matter what, the bunny ears behind the head always works.
Right.
It always works. It's like
the breakdowns always work. Oh, this is great. Yeah, this is great.
He's a moose now.
No matter how professional you get as a scientist, Uranus is always funny.
Put the bunny ears on.
And Homo erectus is always
here comes
funny.
The cat.
My kitty.
No matter how enlightened we are, Homo erectus always gets a laugh.
Oh my god! Yeah, but the doctor, you guys are right. The doctor does a really great job.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Walken's chemistry is really good.
And there's another actor who never gets to act, who acts the hell out of this thing. That's Anthony Zerbe.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
What a pleasure to see him get to do something other than some wacky villain.
Right.
Although he is kind of villainous in this.
He is a little bit, but he's not really villainous. He's more like he's the practical politician type.
I got a cow.
See that?
Yes. Well,
It's my cow.
good job.
Ain't a milker, I hope.
It's a Highland cow.
Oh, okay.
Anthony Zerbe.
There you go.
Just a Thai one.
He's sort of a Shades of Grey character to a degree, but then he is a bit heelish to his own son, and it's
he does. It's one of those great moments in his denouement.
Well,
in the movie.
When he's sitting in the chair, he says nothing.
Yes,
and everything is revealed.
Yeah,
he does more doing nothing than most actors do doing something.
Yes. Yeah. It's I will say that Zerbe had a great and long and illustrious career as a stage actor before he became a television film actor.
And God bless David Cronenberg for seeing that in both Lom and Zerbe and saying, those are the guys I want.
Really?
Yeah.
Really. They can do that stuff.
Hey, he's in the movie Will Penny, the Western Will Penny.
Well, yeah, but he's playing, and he is a hero in that.
Yeah.
But it still is sort of this wacky, exaggerated Eastern European.
Yeah.
type
Mhm.
guy, and here he has no affectations
None of those,
to
none
fall
of those
back on.
trappings. Those trappings are gone in this particular role.
He doesn't have the white fright wig or any of the stuff from Omega Man.
Or his eyes going like this in the
Yeah.
Clouseau movies.
Yeah.
Well, that's Lom.
Yes, that's long. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Zerby and Omega Man. With that crazy makeup. I mean, it's pretty scary in that.
it does most of the work for him,
It did. His voice did the rest of it.
and it's so smooth. What a
Yeah.
great voice.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, looking back on it, because they were friends, Zerby would have made a fine Barnabas.
Yeah. He worked with Fred. So
Yeah.
in San Diego, he worked with Fred.
Yeah, he would have been a great Burt Devlin replacement too. If they would have.
He would have been different, but he would have been good.
Yeah.
Would have been quite different. Zerby didn't typically play the guy with romantic potential. Usually, he very rarely played those characters, domestics or any of that.
He would have made a good Roger.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I love how Cronenberg shoots that scene too when he's sitting in the chair saying nothing and the phone's ringing.
Oh yeah.
Great job because you see it. It's just two drowned or whatever, and you're not sure what it's like. Wait, did the kid end up drowning? And when
the kid
and when he walks into that scene, it's like your heart's just like big relief.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Martin Sheen as Donald Trump is.
Yeah. I mean, that's the kicker. When he grabs a hold of his hand, that's when the movie turns completely into what it's going to be, how it's going to end, and it's quite fatalistic. Of course, being able to see the future is kind of fatalistic, but the fact that he learns from his doctor, who concurs with him because of the dead zone, that he can change things.
Yeah.
And so he's learned that by the time he grabs this.
I love the mythic, almost mythic quality of the phrase "the wolf is loose."
Yes.
That just was very.
Yeah.
It was ancient. It just felt great.
Yeah. We learned about before our history teacher taught us that term in 5th grade. Like that's what they said for when that happened, the Blitzkrieg and stuff like that.
Yes, from the Nazi invasions in various areas.
Yeah. So when I heard that, like I recognized that term, and I'm like, oh wow, they use that term here in this movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, he would pick up on that from the vision that he was having.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the doctor's mother is alive too.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is the doctor decides not to mess with that.
Yeah.
It wasn't meant to
almost
be.
does, but he decides this is the way it's supposed to happen.
That's a very mature moment. I saw this when I was about 12, where you're becoming much more aware of nuances of human behavior, and you're moving. Had I seen that when I was 11 or 10, I said, "Well, why didn't he get together with his mom?"
Right.
But by 12, abstract thinking starting to kick in.
Well,
and you just had another year of observing.
12 for you, abstract thinking. The 12-year-old that I grew up with, it wasn't happening.
Really?
But it does start to happen around that puberty time where you start getting intellectual mentorship from teachers and stuff. They start recognizing talent.
And from art. I mean, just see. That's why a movie like The Dead Zone is a good movie for kids to see.
Yes, it is. It is. It's good. It comes from literature. It comes from a novel, and the writing and the transposition of it is really good too, for film. So they can learn about how film works, and how film dialogue works.
There are certain things that obviously, because it's a movie, they don't get into with Johnny Smith. If my recollection is correct, and I hope it is, because I haven't read the novel in years. But I believe Johnny Smith, when he was a boy, was ice skating. He slipped, hit his head.
Oh.
And that's sort of what it caused.
That was the beginning of it.
Yeah. You don't really get that in this movie.
No, it's all the accident at this point.
Yeah.
He's not strange at all. He doesn't have any insights at all before that accident.
It's a very economical adaptation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it needs to be. It's what's an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And the book is enormous.
Yes, and it is.
Yeah.
What most of King's better works are. They're big. They just tend to be.
Yeah.
They're not 250 page.
Yeah, he
hardcovers.
suppresses it.
They're 500, 600, 700 pages.
Yeah, he suppresses it as a kid, and then when the accident happens, it comes full circle.
Yeah. So he's just having fragments of it, and he just tries. Oh, that's
your only really hint in this movie is the roller coaster sequence. Like something's gonna happen.
Yeah, he's starting. He's having the headaches. He's starting to have the headaches,
Yeah.
and when the headaches happen, that's when the spells, as he refers to them, start to occur.
Yeah, and the accident just triggers it all.
And the interesting thing about the end of this movie is, it's not a tragedy at all.
No,
It's a culmination of a successful what he was meant to do. He knows he's going to die anyway, because these headaches are going to get worse, and this is what's going to happen to him. So he's ready to sacrifice. But he doesn't have to be a murderer to do it, which is a great twist. I love that. He takes a pot shot at the guy, misses him,
And the baby.
The guy grabs the baby and holds it up in front of him.
You just know
like
it.
a human shield.
You just know
Yeah.
it. When I saw this movie with my mother, she practically stood up and screamed at the screen when he did that.
You bastard! Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, she said,
Yeah.
"Oh, it's all over. Oh no!
Yeah.
God, he's got the baby. That's it for him."
Yeah. And playing a villain isn't what Martin Sheen normally does, but he does a brilliant job of playing a guy who's hiding his worst self until it's time.
It was a total spoiler for The West Wing.
Yeah.
I knew how that was going to end.
I would say this is
The end of The West Wing. He grabs a baby out from behind
It'll be great,
the desk.
and you'll be able to do this with AI in probably about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
To have a presidential debate between Stilson and Bartlett.
Yeah. With a baby in between.
With a baby,
He's gonna
yeah.
grab the baby.
Well, that's the Admiral James Stockdale. Remember him? Joel, you remember Stockdale, Admiral Stockdale?
no.
He was hilarious. He was Ross Perot's running mate.
Yes.
And he's a good Navy guy,
Yeah.
but kind of out of it. And it's like, what am I doing here? In the debate, he does his first line. Why am I here? What am I doing here?
Yeah. He was.
And he just became lovable at that point.
He was, because he was very
going
honest
to win.
about the fact that he was ill prepared to be a politician.
Yeah, yeah. You knew Perot wasn't going to win, and Perot knew Perot wasn't going to win.
Right.
Probably when he picked Stockdale, but it had just great entertainment potential.
But who was it? My favorite moment all time of vice presidents is basically Bob Dole literally disappearing for the entire.
Oh yeah.
What, Bob Dole did what?
He didn't literally, but he basically was like non-existent at
In the
times.
Clinton debate?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, come on.
He's just sitting there holding his pen very fervently.
He's waiting for his next Britney Spears Pepsi ad.
There's nothing wrong with my hand. I'm Bob Dole.
Oh my god! No.
I love that pen. I thought that was a nice. And there's a reason for it.
There was.
know,
I mean, obviously, he had a withered arm, and he was trying to sort of keep it in place. And I appreciate that, but it also made some great Saturday Night Live stuff. So.
Oh yeah.
Secretly,
Well, Norm Macdonald, I think, was their Bob Dole, and he was magnificent.
It was.
Secretly, that's the pen that murdered Bill Malloy.
That's right. It was the filigreed pen.
Yeah.
damn it.
Yeah.
I'm not letting it go.
Yes.
I'm not letting it go.
Just etched right into it.
Every time Roger Collins sees me holding this, he knows.
He's gonna sweat.
He knows that I know that he knows that I know that I know that he knows.
So you better vote for Bob Dole.
Yeah. I remember they were talking about that on TV like the next day.
Hey, did you get
Politics was fun back then.
Yes.
You weren't worried about the end of the world.
Yeah.
It didn't involve the chaos of constitutional crises.
No. What's you guys' favorite Christopher Walken performance?
Oh, that one.
God.
Which one?
Pennies from Heaven.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Well, I mean, the watch speech in Pulp Fiction's
Oh,
awfully good.
it's
Yeah.
that's brilliant. It's totally brilliant. It's like it's Chris at his unfettered best. It's
Yeah.
like
And all you can see are the sharp edges of the watch too.
that's right.
It's like, oh god.
Here, kid, go clean this.
Regular like clockwork. Get it?
Get it?
Mhm.
He also isn't he the father in Catch Me If You Can? Yes, he is.
Yes.
He's very good in that.
Brilliant in that.
Yes.
Well,
Now, I'll tell you an interesting Christopher Walken
Catch me
thing
if you can.
with this movie is that I think this was the first movie he
Yeah,
made
he's
after
the father.
he helped kill. I mean, after Natalie Wood died.
yes.
Which I had to add to the haunted
Mm.
scare.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh my God, yes. Yeah. And I think probably Brainstorm came out just before this.
Well, that's where I'm getting the timeline
Yeah.
because that
Yeah.
happened during Brainstorm,
right.
which is why they had to, reshoot and.
Mhm.
And I'll tell you what, that's a movie I hadn't seen for a long time. And we had a big snow here last year. We were trapped here for about a week and a half. And I watched it late one night. And wow, it's good.
Yeah.
It is such a mature movie in so many ways. I had forgotten how good Brainstorm is.
Yeah.
And it's great. I think it's better now. I think it's aged extremely
Yeah, I
well.
got to see it again. It's been years since I've seen it.
You'll love it.
Yeah.
It's better than it was when it came out. It's
Yeah.
so, especially his movies are so much worse. Just by comparing, now that we know what they can do,
Yes.
it's just a marvelously mature movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool.
This to me is number one all time. This movie.
Well, it's
I
mean, it is a brilliant performance, but he's had many. But this is also his leading performance. This is a huge leading performance.
Yes.
With him.
And maybe it's one of his first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deer Hunter is.
Well, Brainstorm.
Mhm.
Yeah, Brainstorm.
In the recumbent bike.
Have you ever seen The Prophecy with him in it?
God,
I have
I
not.
know of it, but I don't think I have seen it.
That's a pretty good movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty good.
Right.
He's scary as the Archangel Gabriel.
Okay.
He's pretty creepy.
Yeah.
Like Walken is.
And then there's that another famous actor plays what, Michael, right?
Yeah.
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 I've seen scenes from it, but I've not seen the whole film.
Well, who is it? The guy who was in Lord of the Rings plays the devil. Hugo Moore.
A lot of guys in Lord of the Okay.
He's
Hugh
great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Hugo.
Yeah.
He's a great actor.
Also played the Red Skull in the first Captain America film.
And V for Vendetta.
Yep.
Where he took it over from some other actor. It was a good.
Yes, there was something else. Yeah, it was like there was more than one actor playing it. Apparently.
And the other actor just didn't like his face not being seen or something.
Yeah,
like
that's an actor thing to not like. Imagine if John Hurt had decided halfway through filming of The Elephant Man, I don't like this makeup. They can't see me.
A terrible thing to do.
Speaking of Martin, we talked about Martin Sheen too. What's you guys' favorite Martin Sheen role?
Well, I really love him in West Wing. I think it's a tour de force performance. It's not an easy thing to maintain that kind of character and arc through like 5 or 6 seasons. I love that show anyway. I just absolutely love it. I'm kind of a political junkie, so
a dark horse Martin Sheen role that I really like, because there's not much of it, and it's a goofy movie, and all of that. Is Uncle Ben.
I don't think I've seen that.
It's where it's in the first Andrew Garfield Spider-Man.
Oh God, yes.
He is so good. That character has to do so much in such a brief period of time.
Right.
And he had massive shoes to fill with Cliff. God bless him, Cliff Robertson.
Cliff Robinson. Yeah.
And if you're going to get anyone to succeed Cliff Robertson in a part, God damn it, make it Martin Sheen. And Martin Sheen sort of was destined to be a great grandfather type figure,
Mm-hmm.
and he is as Uncle Ben, and his Uncle Ben gets legitimately pissed at Peter several times, and you buy it. It's
Yeah.
fair.
Sure.
It is a fair old school disciplinarian,
Yep.
and wow, he's just great as Uncle Ben, and that's a thankless part.
Yeah, he was in that black and white film back in the '66 or '67 that I was talking about that takes place on a subway car. He plays the punk in that. He plays the bad guy.
Yeah.
He's also in what is it? 10 Blocks on the Camino Royale, which is, was a made-for-TV weird 1-hour version of it, I think. And it
Was he ever credited in anything as Emilio Estevez?
No,
Because
not
that's his real name.
I know that.
Yeah.
I know that. Yeah, and I had back when I was the first time I went to the University of Maine and I took a semester classes before I quit again for years. I had a British acting teacher who insisted that his name was never Estevez. He thought we were friggin' pulling his leg.
How sad. How sad.
Yeah. So yes, there are Hispanic people in Ohio.
Yeah.
You know, and he changed his name because there were a lot of bigots in
Sure,
you know,
he wasn't going to get a part.
yeah, he wasn't going to get cast as Estevez because they would suddenly think he looked too Hispanic when in fact he looked more Irish than he looked Hispanic.
Yeah, sure he did. Well, I think didn't John Gavin do something like that?
I don't know.
I think because John Gavin wound up being our ambassador to Mexico. No, he did.
Yeah, no, yeah, I believe it. Yeah, but I'm not sure what his original name might have been. So.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people did back then. You know, into the '70s and '80s, they were changing their.
The second Burt Devlin.
Yeah.
Yeah, because his name was Octavia,
Yeah.
not Anthony. So yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of huge stars in this movie, but I really love him in The Departed, which is an interesting movie. I don't know if you guys have seen that movie.
Sure.
Yes, absolutely. He plays one of the cops.
Yeah.
He
It's
plays
really,
a mentor cop to DiCaprio's character.
yeah. Yeah. But obviously Apocalypse Now, great film.
It is, but it's not really acting. Unfortunately, he was really going through a lot.
Yeah, he was. He was really drunk.
Heart attack and alcohol, everything that this guy's tortured. You can conceivably be tortured by. He was being tortured by in his life. It was. I'm joking. Of course, it was an acting job, but there was a lot going on in his life at that time.
What's
He had
that
to
one?
leave production for a while because of heart attack.
It's really good. His performance is really good, and I forget the name of the movie. Where him and that one girl go and drive around. He's shooting people. I forget the name. No,
Is that on the West Wing?
No, no. This was not a West Wing. It was a movie. It was I think Sissy Spacek was in it with him. I could be wrong about her being in it.
Oh my God! You're talking about the one where he's playing Starkweather.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
He's damn it! Let me look this up.
I'm not familiar with this.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, he's like playing Charlie Starkweather, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, basically.
Let me see. Martin Sheen filmography. This will help. The crime thriller that he was in on the train is called The Incident. 1967. It's also got Bo Bridges, Ruby Dee, Jack Gilford, Ed McMahon, Gary Merrill, Donna Mills, Brock Peters, Thelma Ritter, and Jan Sterling.
Lord.
That's a
Good
cast.
And you can find it on YouTube, I believe. It's actually quite amazing. It's kind of a period piece, but it's really well done. Really well done.
But with Thelma Ritter, it's going to be dangerously erotic. You know, that's just that throws the whole thing
That's
off.
true.
That becomes pure
It's
heat.
true. It's all roses and erections with
Thelma Ritter and Arlene Francis, as I
Mm.
recall, were in the earlier version of the movie Bound. And that just ignited the screen.
I was about to say, it's just they just Viagra on two legs.
Yeah, just imagine. Oh, oh God, ladies,
So
please.
okay, we're looking for. Let me see if I can find it. Badlands. He
Yes.
plays a character called Kit Carruthers, but it's Charlie Stark.
Yeah.
It's totally
Yeah.
Charlie Stark, whatever. And it's Sissy Spacek. You're correct.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
awesome. Well done.
Yeah. Good movie. Really interesting.
Yeah, very spooky.
Yeah.
In terms of the fact that you realize it's based on reality, and it's.
Yeah.
You know.
And Sheen is really chilling in it too.
Oh, he is. He looks like Charlie Starkweather. At that point, it was like 1976 or something, 1977. They were both young.
Yeah.
So it worked. Worked really well.
Yeah. I always
He
felt
greased his hair back and wore, leather jacket and the whole. And of course, he's short like Charlie was.
Yeah.
So he, kind of like puffs himself up when he's around other people that he's contemplating killing, and all of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Good performance.
What do you guys' favorite scenes in this movie, The Dead Zone?
Oh, all the stuff involving the kid,
Yeah.
the student that he works with.
Mhm.
When he hugs the student, and the student's a little kind of weirded out, but is touched,
Mhm.
by the affection. I
Yeah,
think
the
that
connection that they build is really nice.
the interesting thing in that scene is that you don't really see their faces. Johnny's looking out,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's shot over the kid's shoulder,
Right.
and yet it is it's so expressive in the writing and in the vocal delivery that I think seeing their faces would have been overwhelming. It would have been too much, and that's a really wise choice.
Yeah,
on
and it's an
Cronenberg's part.
interesting choice too. Which
Yeah.
is, it's different. So.
It gives the characters just enough dignity.
Mm-hmm.
That we don't have to see their face. We're not going to go there.
Right.
It's like in Hereditary, where we don't see the physicality when the son has to tell the mom what's happened to his sister,
Right.
which I think is the scariest scene in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
That is the moment of the truest horror in that film is when the son's going to have to explain to the mother what happened.
Right.
And it's just you don't even see the room. You're outside the house when that's reported, and even that's too close.
Yeah. Yeah. This is like the scene. I'm trying to think of the movie where the guys were abused as kids, and one of them becomes criminal, and the other one becomes a lawyer, and they end up confronting the guard at the juvie hall in a
Sleepers?
Sleepers. Happens in Boston, and they shoot the guy dead, mob style, in after they sit down and talk to him. And the guy, the abuser's played by Kevin Bacon. And it's amazing. There's one scene in this movie where this priest who knows them all from childhood is played by Robert De Niro, and this one of these kids, now an adult, sits down and tells him what happened back in the day when they were kids, because the priest was clueless that this was happening to them when they went to juvie. And there's nothing but music and his face and posture as he's listening to this tale of horror, basically, this tale of abuse. And he starts to lose it, for these kids that he couldn't protect all those years ago. And it's a brilliant scene. It's an excellent scene. It's a harrowing movie, though. It's really depressing, as you can imagine. These guys' lives are basically ruined by it. The only one that pulls out of it is Brad Pitt's character.
Yeah.
Who's the lawyer. He's the lawyer. Yeah. And he didn't get abused, I don't think. But he knew about it. He knew about it.
Yeah. Yeah. What's your favorite scene for this movie, though?
This movie. Oh my God. There's so many, and I think for me, it's when he. I love the layering of the scene. It's a real subtle stuff, but everything between when he discovers that Brooke Adams is no longer his girlfriend, she's married, had a kid, through his refusal to help the sheriff. Because, I mean, he looks at his father and his father just shuts right up. I mean, with a look. Because his father says, you should do. And so there's a lot of conflict going on in all of that, a lot of pain, a lot of psychological pain happening, along with the physical pain that he's going through, which is considerable. Said like crushed.
Yeah, this is an example of one of my favorite Ebert quotes that I mentioned before, which is that no great movie is ever truly depressing. Every bad movie is. And as heavy as this movie is, and as harrowing as it is, and as much as it deals with characters who are depressed, it always feels revealing and educational and like something important is being shared.
Yeah, it's moving towards a redemption of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
He is. He's moving towards that. That's the one thing about Sleepers is it's kind of redemption. They get their vengeance on this guy who is a horrible human being who has absolutely no redeeming qualities whatsoever, and probably has continued to abuse kids for 30 years. So there is that, but it's also it's tempered by the fact that their lives they'll never get their lives back. They're never going to get their lives back. It's sort of like in Mystic River, the scene where they're kids and Tim Robbins' character gets taken away. He gets abused.
Yeah.
He gets abused again when he's falsely accused of the murder, but and gets killed.
Mystic River. Yeah.
Mystic River, yeah, another really brilliant film. But there is some redemption for some of these characters, at least.
I think with Sleepers, real quick, the redemption is when they're building up to the murder itself of Bacon's character.
Well, and it's also that all these people believe them.
Yes.
They finally believe them.
Yep.
Their buddy believes them. The priest believes them. These important people in their lives have finally been told this, and they believe them.
Yeah. And with Mr. Sean Penn is really great at Mystic River too. Tim Robbins is great in that movie too. Cast in general. But yeah, really great two movies. With this movie here, I'll talk about a couple of scenes you guys talked about. With Patrick's scene that you talked about, I agree with you. I love how they shoot it. They don't necessarily say anything to each other because you do have. I love how Walken plays it. He's crying, hiding his eyes, but he's like, "Don't come near me for a moment," and then he turns around and hugs him because he just needs that release. That is so. Yeah. That's emotion. It's pure human emotion.
Yeah, and Patrick's really the only. I mean, this kid is the only kid.
Yep.
Is the only person that he could do that with at that point. He ends up sleeping with his ex-girlfriend once.
Yep.
But that's kind of a thing where they're settling out.
Yeah.
They're settling out emotionally about all of that. It just so happens they're doing it by having sex, and that's not like that's unheard of. That's kind of a closure rather than a bonding thing. Although I think that she loves him and he loves her, but she has another life, so they're not going to bond the same way that they had planned to before the accident.
I like how this movie really too is about life in general. life always has something else in store for you, maybe not exactly what you planned out in your map.
Yeah.
And from the accident to waking up from a coma to the psychic abilities, he wanted to teach and get married. Okay, you could still teach, but you're not getting married.
Yeah.
You're not getting the girl you want.
Even the teaching is going to be different because he lost his
Yep.
job. So
Yeah.
everything's changed. It's like you have to embrace the change because you have no choice. It's been done for you.
Yeah, and I love how too they play it where he says about, I gave my kids an assignment about the Legend of Sleepy Hollow, how Ichabod Crane, when he was a bachelor, thought nobody would bother him, and she's like, "Was that what you want?" She goes, "Is that what you think? How people will remember that people won't remember you?" He goes, "It's what I want," but he doesn't really get what he wants either.
No,
at all.
But that's almost prescient.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of my favorite build-up scenes in this entire movie. That they're built. This guy, you're not getting what you want, and because in life you often don't. It's a very, for all the science, for all the fantasy you get in this film, it's a very real grounded movie, humanity-wise, and that's what makes it great. So straight 10.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it goes without saying.
Yeah,
I think this is honestly one of the best movies we've looked at. I mean, we have a tendency to pick movies we like and good movies, and I think we've done a good job with that. This one's an echelon above most of them, and I love those films that we looked at. But this is just
I think
a real cracker.
Since I've been with you guys, we've only picked one movie that was we just couldn't deal with it.
What was that? Was that the John Aston thing?
Yes. We just could not deal with that at all. We had a couple others that we didn't think were the greatest in the world, but we found
things to like about them.
Right.
But that John Aston thing, good God.
Holy God. They shot that in Mexico on a drunken weekend. It looked like it was shot on a drunken weekend.
It looked like it was shot on a hungover next day.
Well, that was the developer. The guy that developed the film was hungover. It's like, oh, it's Granny Fire.
That film was specifically made for everybody to go have a vacation. That's what that
God.
was.
It's specifically made to be completely blotto before you watch it, and then forgot about it completely.
Oh my God! Now I'm doing Halloween 3: Season of the Witch Wednesday, but tomorrow's not Wednesday. Tomorrow's Tuesday.
I have a weird suggestion if we can find it.
Sure.
Now, Alan, you may know this movie. You may, although I doubt it. Cold Turkey.
I've heard of it. I don't believe I've seen it.
Interesting film. I haven't seen it in forever. I remember nothing about it except that it was pretty damn subversive in its own way, and especially its just portrayal of humans. Do you know about this movie, Joel?
No, I've never heard of it.
Look it up. It's about it's Dick Van Dyke. It's a Dick Van Dyke movie from the 70s. It's about a town in the 70s, which tells you a lot, that all agrees to give up smoking at once.
Well, here's the good news. I'm sending it to you guys now to watch.
Okay.
So I found it.
Awesome.
So there's that.
It is a whether it's still good or not, I don't know, but for a long time it was a comedy connoisseur's kind of, in-joke private movie. A lot like Smile. The Michael Ritchie Smile which has Denise Nickerson in it about beauty pageants.
Yes.
Cool. I'll definitely watch it. I've never seen this, so I'll definitely check it out for tomorrow. But is there anything you guys want to add about the Dead Zone before we get it?
It's a damn good movie.
It's just
comes
fantastic.
From a damn good book. And even the author of the book loves it, which, I mean, he could say only about a few of his movies.
It was so good, I created a rum drink during it that will endure.
That's right.
Link to the Patrick McCray's Dark Shadows Daybook of Bow is going to be in the description box. Go pick it up if you haven't already. Link to Alan Gallant's YouTube channel. Colin Sport After Dark is going to be in the description box. You guys have a great and safe night. Take care.
Thank you.
Peace